I love investing in single family residential homes, primarily because there's so many opportunities with those type of homes. A lot of times people don't even think about all the opportunities that's available to them. It's actually, in my personal opinion, the safest investment you can make. Here's a few reasons why. A, let's say you have a tenant in your single family home and they decide not to pay the rent, and you're just tired of dealing with tenants who are paying monthly, ruining the house and not paying the rent, and you just at your wit's end about it. Well, you can convert the usage of the home. You can turn it into a rooming house. You can turn it into an Airbnb rental. You can partner with an agency that will put traveling nurses in the home. So there's so many different options that you can utilize as a B, C, or D option to really get that home to generate the type of revenue that's going to help you cash flow the way that you want to cash flow. A lot of other investments, you don't get the opportunity to do that. And you invest in the stock market, or you invest in different types of asset classes, you're not going to be able to go in there and control how you can fix the situation like I just gave you in that first example. Secondly, with single family residential homes, you also have the opportunity to liquidate that asset quite easily. Remember, everyone needs a roof over their head, and single family homes are the go-to places for families to live in. And so if you're a family with over 3 or 4 people, most likely you're going to need a home. And those families usually have a couple of earners, so the likelihood of you getting rent is going to be fairly high. And so liquidating that type of home is fairly easy. Looking at the Atlanta market right now, for example, homes are selling like hotcakes, and that's really across the country. And you'll find that even with the dips and cycles, there's some cycles like in 2008 where it was very hard to sell homes, but that is very far and in between. Most likely you're going to be able to liquidate your home within a 60-day cycle, and that gives you a very nice hedge against risk. Airbnb is also an amazing strategy with single family homes because essentially you can turn a home into a micro hotel. You're essentially running a hotel on a very micro level, but you're not having to deal with all the overhead that a typical hotel has to deal with. With one cleaner and some automation, you can really manage that asset in a very hands-off fashion, and you can also scale utilizing your relationships with the bank and utilizing your economies of scale once you set up your cleaners and some other employees to kind of manage your facility, and once again keep your costs low but your cash flow fairly high. So Airbnb rentals to me are really the way of the future for single family home investors. Back in the day, once again, a lot of people would just put monthly tenants in there, but why would you want to put a monthly tenant in there when you can rent it out on a daily basis for more money, have someone else manage it for you? And one of the most important things about having an Airbnb rental is the fact that you get access to the property almost every other day when you have a checkout. When you have a monthly rental in there, you don't know what's going on behind closed doors unless you're going to check on the property every couple of months. Most likely, most investors are not going to be doing that, and nor do they have the time to do that. But if you have cleaners going into those assets every other day, following up behind customers that have come in there, renting out from the Airbnb perspective, you're going to have a good handle of what's going on in that home, and you're going to be able to make fixes to that home fairly quickly. And once again, when you want to exit that property, it's going to be in much better condition than if it was a monthly rental. Additionally, your cash flow is going to be higher. So when you want to refinance the property, or when you want to expand your Airbnb portfolio, you're going to have the opportunity to do that fairly quickly because your cash flows are going to look very good to your banker. When buying an Airbnb rental, make sure that you're hitting some key parameters of the asset that you're buying. One of them would be that you're buying the worst home in the best area. That's one of the best scenarios that you could find. The reason being is because that's when you're going to get a value add play. You're going to be able to buy in the best area, but at a discount because obviously the home is not going to be super attractive. This is the thing, you can fix up the home fairly easily. If it's a cosmetic issue, you can put on some paint, you can do some landscaping, you can get into the home and make some renovations that are not going to be a major buster of your wallet, and you're going to be able to fix those items up fairly quickly and once again generate the type of revenue you want to generate for your Airbnb asset. Additionally, I personally like to many times buy newer properties, primarily because over a span of 5 or 6 years, you're not going to have to do too much work and maintenance on that property. So if you could buy let's say a newer property, a new development close to the airport, you could probably get a pretty good deal on it. And that's because a lot of people don't think about Airbnb properties close to the airport. When they're thinking about Airbnb properties, they're looking at places closer to downtown because they think that's where population demand is going to go. But really, buying an Airbnb by the airport can be very lucrative because a lot of business people coming into the city are going to be looking for somewhere that's going to be close to the airport where they can access it fast and have the flexibility to get around town quickly. Additionally, a lot of corporate travelers coming with family are going to want to have a home. And if that home is by the airport, that level of flexibility, once again, is just going to be fantastic for them. So those are a couple of key things that I look for is if I am going to buy an older home, buying it in the best neighborhood and giving myself that value add play. But if I'm going to buy a newer home, try to do it by the airport so you have that flexibility and your customer base can really be able to bring their family and give you that competitive advantage that other Airbnbs might not have location-wise.